Imagine a world where the uh, gaslit alleys of Victorian London hide secrets far grander, maybe more terrifying, than even Sherlock Holmes could typically deduce.
Mm.
What if the most logical mind in England found himself, unraveling a mystery that defied not just reason, but reality itself?
That's quite the premise.
It is. So today we're taking a deep dive into a really fascinating collection of source materials. We've got Dr. Watson's own reminiscences, a diary from a future archaeologist, even some cryptic military logs.
Quite a mix. So what's the mission here?
Right, our mission is basically to pull out the core insights, the surprising truths behind this, well, staggering narrative. It's one where the worlds of Sherlock Holmes and Doctor Who just spectacularly collide.
An interdimensional cosmic adventure, you could say.
Exactly. We'll explore how these disparate realities intertwine, reveal some pretty shocking betrayals, and uncover the true nature of, well, power and perception.
Sounds like it'll challenge our understanding of what's possible.
Definitely. Prepare for an experience that will hopefully spark your curiosity about hidden connections and information, and maybe leave you with a few aha moments. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it. Where do we start?
Our story begins, well, like a lot of them do, in 1887 at 221 B Baker Street. Dr. Watson had recently come back to live with Holmes.
Right, after the tragic curtailment of his marriage, as he puts it.
Yeah. And even though he still had a small medical practice, he apparently found himself with plenty of time to help Holmes out and, start writing down their adventures.
The classic setup. But the sources say the brass knocker on their door was never still for long.
Exactly. It feels familiar, but things get weird fast. Holmes and Watson get summoned by two high-ranking cardinals from the Vatican, Cardinal Rufo Silla and Cardinal Tosca.
And this wasn't the first time, right? Holmes had done some, let's say, discreet work for them before.
That's right, recovering some valuable Vatican cameos, apparently. Very hush-hush.
So he's already on their very exclusive list.
He is. And this time, the request is urgent. It's about a theft, an unprecedented one from this really secret place. The Library of St. John the Beheaded.
Okay, S. Giovanni Decolato. Sounds ominous. What's special about this library? It's hidden somewhere notorious, isn't it?
It is, deep in the St. Giles Rookery in Holborn, a place the police apparently avoided. And this library, it's described as a repository for books which have been or are, or might be, banned.
Banned knowledge. That's fascinating. What does that say about the Vatican, hiding this kind of stuff away? It challenges Holmes's ordered world, doesn't it? This idea of forbidden knowledge.
Absolutely. It suggests the power dynamics around information control, even back then. They feared certain truths getting out.
And the security, I read it was pretty extreme.
Oh, it was brutal. It wasn't Vatican guards or anything. It was overseen by local gang leaders. They're called scurfs in the sources.
Scurfs, okay.
And they used skilled pickpockets called fine wirers as enforcers.
And the punishment for getting caught.
Simple and horrifying. Anyone caught trying to take a book, they cut off their hands. Right there.
Wow. That's intense. It really speaks to how dangerous they thought those books were.
Definitely. Suggests the secrets inside could unravel, well, maybe everything. The Vatican outsourcing security to criminals like that. It highlights how extraordinary these texts must have been.
So just as they're trying to figure this out, this library, this theft,
Right.
someone else shows up.
Right. Enter the doctor.
Yeah.
His calling card is odd.
Yeah.
Printed just with the doctor traveling.
And it smelled of fresh ink, but Holmes couldn't find any traces on the back.
Exactly. Holmes deduced it was printed specifically for them.
Yeah.
Right away, something's different about this guy.
And his story is even stranger. Claims he got a medical degree in Edinburgh in 1870, same year Watson started.
But Watson doesn't remember him at all.
Nope. And then he just casually drops that he's, 500 years old? Or was 500 years younger back then? It's confusing.
And he knows about places like Manaxas and the Ripuarian cluster, places definitely not on any map Watson knew.
So how does Holmes, Mr. Logic himself, deal with this? A maybe 500-year-old alien doctor turning up?
Well, Holmes tries, right? He's always looking for the rational explanation, the deduction. But the doctor, he's a challenge. He represents knowledge Holmes can't just figure out from clues on the ground.
Yeah, it forces Holmes to stretch. You can feel that tension in Watson's writing.
And then, just as they're digging into the stolen books, something horrific happens, something that must have just blown Watson's scientific mind.
Ah, the spontaneous human combustion. Mrs. Kate Prendersley.
Yes, in her home in Deptford. How does that fit into a rational investigation?
It doesn't really. That's the point. It just throws this cosmic wrench into everything. And Mrs. Prendersley, she had a connection to the library, too.
Right, her husband was killed in a riot, mistaken for a policeman. And he'd been murmuring these strange words in his nightmares.
Go for the same kind of unsettling sounds we hear later. She was at the library trying to understand them.
And Watson, being a doctor, he just dismisses spontaneous combustion, calls it a fallacy, no rational explanation.
Completely understandable for the time. But the doctor, he pushes back, doesn't he? Even gets Inspector McDonald to consider it.
He does. He cites these, well, supposedly real-world examples. Mrs. Rooney in Seneca, Illinois, 1885.
And even Dickens, Crook in Bleak House, he's basically saying, just because we can't explain it doesn't mean it isn't real.
Which must have really shaken Watson. And there are other odd things about the doctor, too, subtle things.
Like calming the serpentine just by touching the water with his umbrella.
Yeah, though Holmes apparently tried to explain that away with oil. Typical Holmes.
And his footprints being dry even when it was wet outside. Little details that hint at something, well, beyond Victorian London.
So the ordinary is fading fast.
Mm-hmm.
To figure out the theft and maybe this combustion thing, Holmes goes undercover, deep into the criminal underworld.
Right, into the Hackney marshes, disguised, shabby clothes, fake whiskers, the whole deal. He's looking for Mac the Knife, Yeovil and Jitter.
The gang leaders running the library security.
Exactly. And while he's there, he sees this absolutely horrific fight. Not just dogs, but this bizarre creature.
Described as a tripodal lizard or a Sumatran bamboo rat. Sounds alien.
Definitely a chilling sign of things to come. And then he sees Yeovil and Jitter dealing out their own justice, cutting off hands of their own men for the library theft.
Because they didn't prevent it.
Right. They're furious someone got past their system. It shows this theft has shaken even their brutal order. They actually hire Holmes in his disguise to find the real culprit.
Incredible.
Yeah.
The criminals hiring Holmes. It shows just how layered London's underworld was.
And just when you think it can't get stranger, Holmes gets summoned, not by the police, but by the Diogenes Club.
Which means Mycroft.
Sherlock's older brother. And he's not just smarter, he operates on a whole different level. Runs a secret intelligence group for the Queen, basically.
Using the club as a front.
Precisely. And Mycroft has his own list of suspects for the library theft. It includes someone called Challenger, this Baron Maupertuis, and the doctor.
So the government knows about the doctor, too. Or at least they're suspicious.
They are. It shows these events are making waves right at the top. Yeah. It's not just a Baker Street problem anymore.
And then things get really surreal. Mycroft takes them on this underground journey.
Yeah, in a wheeled shell, Watson says. Like something out of Jules Verne. Underneath London, Watson's struggling to accept any of this is real.
Where are they going?
A brothel, believe it or not, in Drummond Crescent. Apparently an intelligence drop or meeting place.
Okay.
And there they see Baron Maupertuis meeting a figure in a hood and robes.
Chanting those same weird words.
It's the very same. Watson overhears them talking about interference and mentioning a detective and a stranger called the doctor looking into their affairs. They know they're being watched.
And then they get attacked.
Yeah. Maupertuis' manservant, this incredibly strong guy named Serd, tries to kill Watson. The stakes just shot way up. They're getting really close to the center of it all.
So who is this hooded figure? The one working with Maupertuis chanting these cosmic phrases.
Okay, brace yourself for this one. The hooded figure is revealed to be Sherlock Holmes.
Another brother. Sherlock and Mycroft have another brother.
Apparently so, according to these sources. Right. And he's not alone. He introduces them to Kate Kirch.
Kate Kirch.
A five-legged, sort of walnut-like creature from the planet Ry'leh.
Ry'leh. Okay, so this confirms it. It's definitely alien. This blows the scope wide open.
Completely. And Kate Kirch says, Baron Maupertuis is trying to invade Ry'leh.
A Victorian baron invading another planet? That's ambitious.
But wait, there's a twist on the twist. Sherringford corrects Kate Kirch. They aren't invading Ry'leh.
No, then what?
They plan to bring something from Ry'leh to Earth.
Oh no, what?
An entity called Azathoth. Described as let me get this right. The amorphous blight of nethermost confusion that blasphemes and bubbles at the center of all infinity.
This does not sound good. That sounds terrifyingly cosmic.
It is. The scale of the deception here, the level of cosmic horror being introduced, it's staggering. And the method, how they plan to bring this thing here.
The chanting.
Exactly. Certain sounds which resonate at the basal frequency of the cosmos. They create gateways between worlds. Those chants weren't just noise, they were keys.
Cosmic keys to unlock. Azathoth. This changes everything. It's not a theft investigation anymore.
Not even close. It's about saving the world, maybe the universe.
So, with this nightmare revealed, Holmes, Watson, and the Doctor have to stop Maupertuis and Sherringford. They follow them to India.
Right, by ship. A race against time. But the Doctor, he's always a step ahead, isn't he?
Seems like it. What does he do?
He just casually mentions he already contacted a friend in Bombay, knew they'd need help there.
And this is where we meet the new characters from the Doctor's world.
Exactly. Professor Bernice Summerfield, she's an archaeologist, but from the future. Because of the Doctor, she can understand any language instantly. Really useful.
Okay, future archaeologist. Got it. And the other one?
Ace, another time traveler. She's very direct, practical, good with tech, including stuff that looks like smart missiles to Watson. She brings a very different skill set.
So the team is expanding. Victorian detective, doctor, Time Lord, future archaeologist, action companion. Quite a crew.
It really bridges the two worlds. Holmes's and the Doctor's, gives them new tools, new perspective.
They arrive in Jabalabad. And there's a connection to Holmes's past here, too.
Yeah, his father, Sigur Holmes, lived there once. The local ruler is the Nizam Tir Ram, educated at Eton and Cambridge, interestingly.
And he mentions local legends.
He does. Talks about Rakshasi Hindu demons and a cave nearby where Suggi sects used to worship. More convergence of myth, history, and what turns out to be alien reality.
And Ace knows about these Rakshasi.
She does. She recognizes them. And those three-legged rat things they encountered earlier. She knows they're intelligent, not just monsters. It's quite unsettling how much she knows.
And Bernice uses her skills, too.
Oh, yeah. She cleverly gets them invited to a feast with the Nizam, charming a local colonel. Perfect cover for finding out more. Smart thinking.
Okay, so the stage is set for the climax. They track Maupertuis to a cavern on Ry'leh itself.
They manage to follow him through a gateway, yes, to this alien world. And Maupertuis isn't alone. He's got his army.
Made up of London criminals and chanting fakirs.
Exactly, ready for his grand plan. But the opposition is there, too. Holmes, the Doctor, Lord Roxton, an agent from the Diogenes Club Mycroft sent.
Another surprise.
A big one. O'Connor, who seemed like just another character, is revealed to be Professor Moriarty in disguise.
Moriarty, working against Maupertuis, too.
Apparently so. Even archenemies can unite against a, world-ending cosmic entity, it seems. A real clash of minds.
So Maupertuis makes his move.
He does! Proclaims he'll be king and god on this new world, and just then, the gateway, the rip in reality, opens wider.
And chaos breaks loose.
Total chaos. The Rakshasi winged, spiked creatures pour out and attack the Doctor.
How do they fight them?
Holmes, surprisingly, figures it out. He uses his observation skills, sees how they fly, and manages to kill them by breaking their wings. Brutal, but effective. Quick thinking stops them getting through.
But amidst all this, they find something else, something gruesome.
Yeah, the body of Serd, Maupertuis' super strong manservant.
The one who tried to kill Watson. What happened to him?
Holmes examines the body and finds that Serd's scalp and chest had been surgically altered, turned into compartments, lined with velvet.
Compartments? For what?
For smuggling the books out of the Library of St. John the Beheaded. That's how they got them out without triggering the hand-chopping security.
Good grief. He was a walking suitcase. What else did they find?
That half his brain and other organs were just gone, removed during this horrific surgery.
Unbelievable. And Bernice, the archaeologist from the future, she has a theory about this, about Serd's powers.
She does. A pretty chilling one. She suggests that this extreme surgical trauma, removing parts of his brain, might have accidentally activated dormant areas, unleashed latent abilities.
Like his strength, telepathy maybe, telekinesis, even the spontaneous combustion connection?
Potentially. It implies there's this dark potential locked in the human mind, maybe unlocked by extreme trauma or manipulation. It's a disturbing thought.
But the Doctor isn't comfortable with her sharing this.
No, he gets uneasy. Warns her about interfering in history, revealing too much future knowledge. It hints at the dangers of messing with timelines, the responsibility that comes with knowing more.
Okay, so they've dealt with Maupertuis' immediate forces, discovered Serd's secret, but the main threat, Azathoth, is still coming. Until the Doctor drops the biggest bombshell yet.
Right. The ultimate deception. Azathoth isn't what they thought, not some all-powerful god from beyond infinity.
What is it then?
It's Well, the doctor calls it a confidence
A
trickster.
con artist.
Yeah.
Seriously, after all that buildup.
Seriously, it has powerful mind control abilities, sure. It projects this image of cosmic power,
Uh,
but in reality, it's described as a big fat slug.
a big fat slug. That's anticlimactic, but also kind of brilliant.
It is, and it can't even create the gateways itself. It needs the fakirs, the chanting, the singing, as the doctor puts it, to open the way. It's completely dependent on its followers believing the illusion.
That changes everything again. It's not about fighting some unbeatable god. It's about exposing a fraud, outsmarting a manipulator.
Exactly. It makes the problem solvable if they can break the spell, undermine the trick. It empowers them.
So how do they stop this cosmic slug con artist from reaching Earth? They need a plan.
They formulate one. And crucially, Watson still has those notes. Moriarty's notes.
The phonetic scribbles of the chant he overheard.
The very same. Seems Moriarty's interference, or maybe just Watson's pack rat tendencies, saved the day there.
So they can use the chant themselves. But how does that help?
They decide to redirect the gateway. Not stop it, but send Azathoth somewhere else.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Unpleasant.
And where do they choose?
Market Street, San Francisco. But specifically during the aftermath of the Great Earthquake and Fire, a time and place Ace knows from her own past, part of some project she was involved in. She knows it was completely destroyed, razed to the ground.
Exactly. So by subtly changing the chant, using Moriarty's notes as a base, they aim to open the gateway right into that inferno.
Using the enemy's own tools against them, and leveraging Ace's unique temporal knowledge. That's clever.
So the final confrontation, does it work?
It does, but it's chaotic. Azathoth's huge temple caravan starts getting dragged through the new gateway they've created. Its followers are still chanting, pulling it towards what they think is Earth.
And Ace steps up.
Oh yeah. She confronts Azathoth directly, threatens it with one of her missiles, basically forcing the slug to go where they want it to.
So the great Azathoth ends up where?
Dumped right into the burning, collapsing ruins of 1906 San Francisco. Its supposed godhood meets a very fiery, very messy end. The confidence trick is over.
A fitting end for a cosmic con man. But there was a cost, wasn't there? A personal one for Holmes.
There was. Sherringford, his brother, who had fully embraced this path, had started to transform, becoming like one of the Rakshasi creatures himself.
And Holmes.
Holmes had to stop him. To prevent Azathoth maybe escaping fully or Sherringford causing more harm, he confronts his brother and kills him. A brutal, tragic, but necessary act.
Wow, what a sacrifice. Killing his own brother. That adds such a layer of personal tragedy to the cosmic scale.
It really does. It grounds the fantastical in something very human, very painful.
So, looking back at all this, what's really fascinating is how this deep dive just smashes together different realities, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The rational, gaslit world of Holmes, the utterly bonkers cosmic scope of the Doctor.
Absolutely. You see these familiar characters, especially Watson, grappling with things that are completely unbelievable by their standards. And you see how all these different perspectives, Victorian, future, even alien, they all add pieces to the puzzle. It gives you a fuller picture, even if it's a really jarring one.
It definitely raises questions like Watson's own struggle to even write this down. He mentioned something interesting, doesn't he?
He does. He reflects that the more he and Holmes talked about these adventures, the less real they felt. Like turning the experience into a story somehow diminished its reality, made it just a story.
That makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much do we all kind of edit our own experiences, filter reality to make it fit, to make sense of the unbelievable or uncomfortable parts?
Yeah. What do we gain or maybe lose when we smooth out the rough edges of reality to tell a neat story?
And maybe the biggest takeaway from this deep dive is about deception. Not just Azathoth's con, but how easily we can be taken in.
Right. The most dangerous deceptions aren't always complex lies. Sometimes they're things that pretend to be ultimate truths, things that prey on our own desires for power, for answers, for meaning, even for salvation.
Like Maupertuis wanting to be a god, or the fakirs believing they served one.
Exactly. Maybe the real horror isn't the, five-legged alien or the big slug. Maybe it's our own human willingness to believe, sometimes desperately, in illusions, especially when they promise something grand.
So, the provocative thought for you, listening, might be this. When you encounter information, especially something that feels overwhelmingly true, or maybe too fantastical, or perhaps even suspiciously simple, how do you check its foundations? What makes you believe, and what might make you question?